James from Bolt Bros here. Just want to go over a little bit more of the Jim Harbaugh situation as him being with Michigan, contract situations, where he could potentially go. He needs to come to the Chargers. I'm just going to say that. So let's just go ahead and get into it and chat more about an update about where it's sitting right now for Jim Harbaugh. So, Bolt Bros, let's go.
I'm Dale Henley. You watching the Bolt Bros podcast? Let's do it!
Guys, once again, appreciate all the support. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not. We always appreciate the support and love that you guys give us. A lot to talk about with this whole Jim Harbaugh situation. And man, it's not to sound tunnel vision or anything with Jim Harbaugh, but man, what a culture change of a coach if we get this guy. Jim Harbaugh would be a phenomenal fit for this team. He would put Justin Herbert in his bag as his guy that he could rely on as a quarterback. He has the ability to be able to unlock Justin Herbert even further as a quarterback. I mean, the guy has been absolutely outstanding of wherever he's been, from University of San Diego, Stanford, to Niners, to Michigan. The guy knows how to coach, and that's what we need. We need a guy that could coach this team up and really change his culture. I could talk a lot about how that sets up the Chargers, not just for now, but also for later with this team. But that's something we'll talk about if we do hire him, which I do feel we are very, very much in touch with him right now. Once again, any team in the NFL right now could talk to any head coach right now in college football. They could chat with them. There's no restrictions by any means. There's a video I'd made about 3 months ago talking about how the Chargers have had some discussions with Jim Harbaugh. They're already talking with him. They're already putting the bug in his ear. He's hearing it. He's getting interest from the NFL. You hear about how he talked 5 minutes extensively about how Justin Herbert's a phenomenal quarterback. There's a lot of things out there that it just lines up that the Chargers would be the right fit for him. We will see what happens. And on top of that, he's also played for the Chargers and worked with the Spanoses for 2 years. He understands the culture. He understands the ownership. It just makes total sense all around. I get it with him where the Bears might have an opening. Matt Eberflus might end up getting let go. He could go to his team where he ends up, getting drafted from, going back to Chicago, all that stuff. I get it. There's talks about the Panthers being a team would basically ownership over there, spend a lot more money on a head coach once again, bring him over there. Do they really have any selling points? Would that be even a smart move for Jim Harbaugh? That's kind of crazy. Would he go to the Raiders? You know what? Antonio Pierce is doing some pretty big things right now. There's reports about Mark Davis basically saying that he regrets not giving Rich Bisaccia the head coaching job after he did a great job of getting them into the playoffs and putting the Bengals to the brink of potentially beating them late in that game. You know what? Antonio Pierce just beat the Chiefs. Why not? Why not go with that? Obviously, they've got about $80 million, $100 million or whatever on the sidelines of head coaches they fired. Do they even have enough money to be able to even have the ability to even hire Jim Harbaugh? I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that. And if the Raiders did that, man, that's I will give a little respect to the Raiders. As a Chargers fan, if they ended up hiring Jim Harbaugh and spending all that money, probably in the $15 million range per season at this point, that's playing big game hunting at that point. I mean, instead of playing small ball, you're playing big ball at this point. So would be an extremely bold move. But going back to the Chargers on this, you hear all the right things, right, from this ownership. We hear that it's a blank check. We got to think differently. We got to think bigger. We got to go out there and make a bigger, bolder move, a move that is correct for this organization. Put them in the right direction. You know what? Spanos has got to get it right. At this point, you invested $262 million in Justin Herbert. You want to keep him happy. You want to be able to get this team to the next level. You have a Super Bowl coming back to Los Angeles in a few years. You want to have a shot to be able to play in LA for a Super Bowl. You got to get this next hiring right, guys. And for the fan base, please get this hiring right. We're tired of these one-off type coaches. Been here for a couple years, has potential, but basically isn't that guy. Jim Harbaugh, what he does as a head coach. Regardless of where he's been a winner. This division, the AFC West, is getting a little bit more open now with the Chiefs kind of starting to falter a little bit. You're starting to get a chance now. We just need the right coach. And I'm going to say one thing too on this, and I know I'm going a little bit long on this at this point, but look, I've been saying for the longest, we have this beautiful Ferrari of a team. We have a great opportunity to have great talent on this team to do extremely well and great for us down the road. But we just have this engine that's this 4-cylinder engine in that Lamborghini. And we need that engine. And really what it is a coach. We need a coach that could really teach this team correctly. So this could be our guy. Now, I'm not trying to sound tunnel vision. There's other guys out there, but I really think that Jim Harbaugh would be that guy. So let's go into and just chat one more about kind of the update per se with Jim Harbaugh. So going to contracts here, there was that report that Michigan basically gave him about $11 million base contract. I don't remember the amount of years it was, but $11 million basically. They were kind of saying, hey, you can't go to the NFL if you take this contract. Jim Harbaugh didn't seem very happy about that. And obviously that contract didn't come through. In the same point, I think they got NFL teams there, Chargers, chirping in his ear saying, hey, man, we'll outbid whoever you got. We want you to be here. We want you to be with the Chargers. Now, I get it. Jim Harbaugh, it's his alma mater. I get it. He's done good things there. We'll see what happens with the playoffs for him this year. He's obviously going to be at the Rose Bowl. He's in LA. It connects to where if things kind of go awry with the playoffs for them, well, guess what? He's right in LA already, right? He could go over to the Chargers and take a solid interview, face-to-face interview, and go from there. There's a lot that could really fit really, really well for the Chargers on this situation. Now, going to the report that came out recently about the new contract that Michigan's looking to do. So basically what they're doing is they're saying, hey, look, we'll give you basically a 10-year, $125 million contract extension that would make him one of the highest paid coaches in college football. And basically he's got 1 year that he could stay with Michigan. He can't talk with anybody for the NFL at all for the 2024 season. After that, he could figure it out if he wants to. Now, the whole thing about this whole contract here is he has the ability to essentially, it's like a 1 year extension from 2024. 2025, he can start talking to teams. The big thing I'm looking at this is that they went from $11 million to $12.5 million to a 10-year contract. If he sticks with it for his 10 years, essentially he's going to be 70. He pretty much won't ever go back to the NFL. Couple things I'm going to say about this. Let's say he goes into this playoff game in the Rose Bowl, wins the Rose Bowl. My opinion, whoever wins against Bama or Michigan in the Rose Bowl, I think will win the national championship. Let's say Jim Harbaugh gets to that point, wins a national championship. As a coach, don't you really go out there and say, I want to be able to get a NFL championship at this point. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to have that as a part of my legacy. He'll walk away at that point. Now, we're essentially, I'm going to say not just the Chargers. I think every NFL organization that's interested in Jim Harbaugh right now is in a bidding war with Michigan. $12.5 million, in my opinion, is their best and final offer. They pretty much are just giving all the chips to him right now and saying this is their best and final that we could do at this point. My opinion, NFL franchises are worth a lot more money than schools at this point, guys. Multiple billions. We got money to spend. I think this is really what Michigan's last attempt is to try to keep Jim Harbaugh here. I think at this point, $12.5 million does not sound unreasonable by any means to be able to bring Jim Harbaugh here and outbid that. We could easily go into a $14 million side of things. Chargers could say, hey, look, we'll give you full control. You will be the GM. Maybe it's unpopular, but keep JoJo Wooden as an assistant GM. I think that's totally possible that we will outbid this. And once again, this whole situation with this contract, with Michigan is it's their best and final offer. They pretty much have to just go out there and just say, hey, look, we're going to give you the best we possibly can. And if you can't stick around, well, it is what it is. I mean, we're bidding against the NFL at this point. Bottom line, Jim Harbaugh is going to get more money through the NFL. And I do feel very strongly the Chargers have been chatting with Jim Harbaugh for a very long time. Everything you hear about the Spanoses, John Spanos in his interview, pretty much not talking to the media for the last 3 years, is pretty much saying, hey, we're open. We're looking for whatever we possibly could do to be able to get in whatever coach we possibly would like to have here and whatever price it might need to be. Think differently at this time, Spanos. You got to make this decision for down the road. I'm going to even say, too, what's probably going to happen here with this, Jim Harbaugh does have his son coaching over at Michigan right now. You could bring him over there. I think it's Jay Harbaugh. He's in his 30s. He's one of those guys that could be a continuity piece down the road. You get Jim Harbaugh, you treat him really, really good. You potentially say Jim Harbaugh decides to retire down the road, whatever mighty years it might, or years down the road it might be. You could potentially bring in his son to be able to be the head coach. It's keeping the family business going essentially within the Spanos organization or the Chargers organization. There's a lot of things that really come really, really well with that hiring. And you're really, honestly, with Jim Harbaugh, you're going to get a guy who knows how to win, bottom line. Whatever amount of money it is, I'm assuming, let's say $14, $15 million, give him the GM role. Hey, that would be a dynamite hiring at that point. So once again, just an update all around with Jim Harbaugh. I think the Chargers are really in this bidding war right now, and they're creating this bidding war for Michigan to be able to figure things out with this one. They're giving their best and final offer. Chargers could easily pay over that, but will they? I would love to be able to hear your guys' comments on this. Put in some comments below. Love to be able to get the conversation going on with you guys on this. Are the Chargers going to be able to outbid Michigan? Are they going to be able to outbid even some other NFL franchises I've chatted about too? So once again, guys, really appreciate the support, guys, and love. You know what? Let's get out of here, boys. Bolt Bros, let's go.